Hello everyone, I'm Phoenix Tremaine, and today I'm going to give you my movie review for The Craft Legacy, available on video on demand. You can get it on Redbox, you can get it on Amazon Prime, you can get it lots of different places now. And this is one of the movies I was most excited to see, so unfortunately I'm not going to be giving this movie a whole lot of props. But hopefully you give me some props by subscribing to my page, where you'll see lots of new reviews for movies and TV shows, as well as music and different things. I've decided to refocus on this page. I do have two web pages. My other one has almost 25,000 subscribers, where we talk about the soaps. But this one, because my other channel is so connected to soaps and dramas and things like that, I've decided to go ahead and use this self-titled YouTube channel to go on ahead and talk about everything else, including these movie reviews. Now, let me tell you about The Craft Legacy. First, I should tell you that The Craft itself is one of my all-time favorite films. I love The Craft. They just did everything right in that movie. It felt so authentic. When I was a teenager, I used to, study Wicca for a little bit. So, when I watched the movie, it really felt authentic based on the things I had read and had done on my own. So, I really enjoyed The Craft. I don't practice it now, but they got it right. So that was back in 1996. So when The Craft Legacy came up, and it's like 24 years later, I'm like, oh, they must have really put some time and some effort into, this movie, because they know how much people love it. There's conventions where, the girls come out for the fans. After all these years, there's still, except for probably 2020, there's still yearly conventions where the actors are asked to come out and participate in. And so The Craft Legacy had a whole lot to live up to. This one was directed by Zoe Lister-Jones, and she was also the writer, not just the director, she was also the writer. And then they gave credit to Peter Filardi, who is the original writer, and so this is based on some of the characters that he created too. And it's starring Kaylee Spaney as Lily, the Water Witch, Zoe Luna, Lourdes, who's Lourdes, the Earth Witch, Gideon Adlon, who's plays Frankie, she's the Air Witch, and Lovey Simone is Tabby, the Fire Witch. Because if you remember from the original, there were 4 witches to represent the 4 elements, and that was a very, very good film. This one was so disappointing. But I'll also note that Michelle Monaghan played Helen, Lily's mother, and David Duchovny played Adam, her soon-to-be strict father. And it's the whole fish out of water. New girl comes to town, doesn't have any friends, she's a little odd. So, people don't really, catch on to her really quick. And so she goes to the school and she feels bullied, and she gets a period, and instead of having feelings like realize, oh, I'm sorry that this happened to you, how embarrassing it be, she's made fun of and things like that. But the other girls who start off the film, they're already practicing Wicca, but they say they can only do a little bit of magic because they don't have their 4th. They see her and they immediately realize that she's a potential. So they go and they help her out. Tabby gives her a pair of gym pants. She said shorts in the dialogue, but they're actually pants. But she gave her gym pants to wear because obviously her jeans were messed up. And they instantly connect once that they realize they can communicate with her telepathically. And they see her use telekinesis. So they're like, oh, we need to sign this chick up quick. We need to hurry up and start doing this magic. We can do some real magic now. And an hour into this hour and a half movie, hour and 27-minute movie, I was like, when is something gonna happen? I mean, this movie is not well written, is not well thought out. Let me look at my notes. So what I wrote was, so the Craft Legacy is sequel to one. The girls' personalities were. One of my notes was that the girls' personality weren't really fleshed out. There are only two characters that actually have a storyline that are fleshed out, and that is Kaylee Spaney, who plays Lily, the Water Witch, and Nicholas, I don't know how to say his last name, who played Timmy, the bully, who they put a spell on to make him super sensitive. And I knew this movie was on the wrong path when they found a condom with his sperm in it and decided to use that as what they needed of his to cast a spell on him. However, they did never show the condom. She was holding it off camera, she was off the screen. Like, we're all adults here. You know, if you can write in the script, you can show it. It's a Blumhouse movie. You didn't show the condom. You know, is this a PG movie? I don't know what's going on. So that was my first red flag, that we were in for a long-awaited sequel that wasn't going to be even a little bit as much fun or as good as the original. But the worst offense to this movie is the fact that the other three witches were not given a backstory, were not given a personality, weren't given much to do. At least in the original, each girl, even though there were one, they focused on Nancy and the main one played by Robin Tooney. If they focused on them more, but the other two did have some sort of backstory. And Robin Tooney played Sarah. So, you know, they focused on Sarah and Nancy as the main ones that they wanted to spotlight. But in this one, the other girls, they do not do anything with Lourdes, Frankie, or Tabby. I'll give them credit that in this movie, Tabby, which is the black actress, and she's the black witch in this particular one, actually had a lot of lines. So unlike Rachel True, who kind of stood there a lot, was just happy to be part of the film, you know, they actually fixed that in the sense that Tabby had a lot of dialogue and she had a cool power. But what made me realize they weren't going to touch on the girl's backstory is when Tabby mentioned that she has a brother and she was in fear for his life. They never showed the brother. They never said why she was in fear for his life. It's not like she was in the hood, Bone Thugs and Harmony, shootouts and whatnot. They look like all suburban girls, you know, just left Hot Topic or The Gap or something. But good Lord, I was like, what about the other girls? What are their backstories? What made them become witches? They already have powers in advance. When did they decide to become witches? Why did they decide to become witches? You know, we saw in the original, they were all disenfranchised girls who didn't have a whole lot of power, and they were looking for something to make them feel powerful. Same thing I did when I was a teenager, started studying Wicca. I was molested as a kid. I didn't feel like I had, you know, empowerment. I felt very low self-esteem. I had a lot of issues going on that led me to want to try to find new ways to find power to make me feel better about myself and all those type of things. So that's why I said I really related to the movie. Now, I found all those things outside of Wicca, but that made me understand why they wanted to do the things they were doing. One of the girls had a crush on the main love interest, kind of sort of Timmy, and they didn't really dive deeply into that. She had a moment where she looked like she could have been jealous or mad, but we never explored it. We never even had really a scene with her and Timmy kind of showing. One of the girls, Tabby, that I mentioned earlier, she had on her locker slut. What do you mean she had a locker slut? Where was she a slut? who lied about her being a slut. Did she actually have sex? What was going on? So, they really, in the one that was the air elemental, they just forgot she was in a movie. She's the new Rachel True. They forgot that Gideon Adlon was in the movie. She was just there. So that was one of my major problems with the movie. It's not well thought out. The characters are not well written. The way the craft was used, it was nothing more than an episode of the original Charmed. I can tell that when writing this movie, Zoe Lister was like, "Oh, I'm going to write a movie called Charmed." Now, Charmed is basically the craft, but she just kind of flipped it. So, because Charmed came out right after the craft, clearly they had similarities. But this one, they had Piper's freezing abilities that they kept using. And I'm like, okay, they can freeze time. And then, at one point on Charmed, Phoebe had fire powers and Tabby started doing the fireballs and whatnot. The other two girls, I don't know what the hell they were doing extra. They weren't really doing nothing. But the movie went on for an hour with them pretty much just having fun with having powers. The first hour of the movie should have really just been the first half hour of the movie. They left out the middle of the movie, which is where a lot of times, I'm a writer, so I know, that's where a lot of your character development goes in, where you get deeper into what the character's motivations. They never did that. So David Duchovny played her strict stepfather, and soon to be stepfather, because hadn't married the mother yet. And later on, you find out in the last half an hour of the movie, now they want to be the charmed ones, and instead of the power of 3, they had the power of 4. But I'm just going to leave it off at this, so because I really want to talk in greater detail about why this movie irked me, why this movie disappointed me. But I really have to go into spoiler territory. If I'm gonna go there, I gotta go there. So I'm gonna stop now and say I'm gonna give this movie a C-, because it's okay if you paying $20 for it. Really, I don't think so. I think you should wait till it ends up on somebody's streaming service. So that it's been a 24-year wait, but I think that this movie you can wait until it's on a rental in Redbox or something for like $4.99 or something like that on some streaming service. Chances are you've already got a streaming service it'll end up on. It is not a good film. It's not a well-written film. There's not good acting. David Duchovny, this is probably one of his worst acting performances I've ever seen. I've never seen him do bad acting until now. But yeah, it's really bad. And I had high hopes for it because it started off with an Alanis Morissette song called Hand in My Pocket, which is one of my favorite songs. But yeah, it just went downhill from there. So it gets a C- as my official rating for the movie. But now I'm going to go into spoiler territory. So you have been warned of spoiler territory. And I'm going to tell you, some things I talked about, they didn't spoil the biggest twist in the trailer. Don't watch the trailer before you see the movie. You ain't seen the trailer yet, don't watch it. Because it spoils the ending. So let me go over my notes again, where now I can really talk about them. When Tabitha, I talked about Tabitha. Lourdes and Frankly basically don't have a story or personality. The cast is off. It's not well casted. The girls are okay, but because they're not well written, I couldn't really get into the characters. They didn't feel like witches to me. Let me see. We still, when the girls were in center stage in the first movie, we still had a basic understanding what their home life was and what they were going through as individuals. We found out more about Timmy than we did Lord as Frankie or Tabby, where Timmy flipped the script and talked about that he was bisexual and he had his first experience with a boy, and now the boy won't talk to him because now he thinks he's gay, but he's still attracted to women, and that he's both. And that was a well written scene of him coming into his own or his truth or whatever, even if it was a spell that caused him to really open up the way that he did. And then we got to, and then we saw a lot of things that we've seen before. We've seen things that we've seen in the original before. There's a scene that doesn't make sense to me because Tabby uses fire to burn off Slud on her locker. And then later on, she's surprised when a fire lights up on her finger and she lights a candle. And I'm like, were those scenes out of order? Because clearly she knew how to set her fingers on fire and burn the words off her locker. But all of a sudden, she forgot she had fire powers when she was trying to light a candle. Lily being teased for getting her period was straight out of Carrie. They keep using telekinesis in front of people, and people don't seem to notice. Like, one of the girls uses telekinesis to make one of the characters who we don't know who she is. She's just there in that moment being a bully. Made her hit her head, and then nobody even questioned how it happened. The villain of the movie, which is David Duchovny's character Adam, says the girls with powers are too weak to use it against each other. Let me say. He says, girls with powers are too weak to use it against each other, which directly contradicts the first movie, because the first movie, the whole showdown was the girls using their powers against each other. They were also using their powers against other girls, making their hair fall out and whatnot. So saying that women are weaker because they won't use their powers to fight led me to thinking that the writer was trying to make some feminist statement. And, I believe, that in feminist and femininity and woman power and girl power and all that good stuff. But there's a way to do it and make it make sense that, you have a right to do this, you have a right to do that, you have a right to own your sexuality, you have a right to your reproductive organs, that you should have a right to be able to have a say in what happens with your body. You should get equal pay. In a relationship, you don't have to be less than a man in order to be a good woman. There's lots of feminist things, I believe, that make sense. But there's also people who do feminist things that try to shove it down your throat. And a lot of times they know what they're trying to say. But in this movie, I don't feel like they really knew what they were trying to say, what the feminist message actually was, because David Duchovny, I feel like they were trying to make a statement about toxic masculinity, but it wasn't really well written. So, the argument wasn't well thought out. So trying to decipher it, of the character's motivations, it wasn't even worth doing. There's a whole coven of warlocks, but David Duchovny is the only one at the end. I'm like, are the other guys going to come out the woods? Clearly he's a warlock. You could tell once you saw the things on the wall, you knew he was going to be a warlock. So, and of course, he was having his own, I don't know what a warlock coven is called, if it's just still called a coven. But, he had all the guys there. Clearly, they were being indoctrinated into being warlocks or whatever. But we never saw them again. There's a scene where her soon-to-be stepbrother was just standing in the corner watching her. And it was a well-done, creepy scene. And then the other guy came and was like, oh, you're sleepwalking again? Come on. What was that about? What was that scene even for? He just wanted to look at a girl? What did that mean for the warlock community that he was building? He killed Timmy, I guess because he was bisexual. We didn't get a clear meaning of what the rules are in David Duchovny's Adam character's head, because it wasn't just like the the other three witches. We didn't get a backstory. We didn't get a backstory on these warlocks. And so, like I said, it was like watching an episode of Charmed, although Charmed did it better. It was because I love the TV show Charmed, but it was like bad season 1 CGI by the time it was over. For a straight-to-video movie, it goes out of his way to be very PG-13-ish, not showing a condom or the villain's demise at the end. So when the girls are fighting the villain at the end, there's like this fire pit that he's supposed to be sucked into hell or something, or he's burnt up and just killed by the fire. We don't get to see, so how are we supposed to know? All we know is he was standing, there was a circle of fire, there's fire shown in the eyes, he don't scream, he don't say, I'll be back, he don't say, I'm gonna get you. He suddenly forgot he had powers. If he was knocking him, he was using telekinesis to knock him back left and right. But all of a sudden, he forgot that he had the ability to fight back. He just standing there, and then you kind of just showed the girls, and then when they go back, all they showed was a fire pit. There was no body. There was no nothing. We don't know if he got sucked in. Even bad horror movies would have done that a lot better, or at least been fun. They basically also, it's in my notes somewhere. There it is. Final battle. Them taking turns to slowly use their powers one at a time while the villain patiently waits for each person to hurry up and do what they're trying to do. Like she's crafting her fireball. She's getting the fireball together. And David Duchovny just standing there looking at her like, like any day now. So it's like, why are the girls taking turns to fight the villain? Why are the girls not working together as a coven? They do it because he knocks them in the different directions that they realize he knocked them in the exact east, west, north, and south positions that they needed to be in to unite and use their powers to do something to him with fire that we don't quite know exactly what happened, because they were trying to be PG-13-ish, and so they didn't show the demise of the villain. Just use your imagination. They ruined the surprise twist at the end. The surprise twist was that the character was adopted. Her mother was Nancy. And, even when they walk in and she's like, I'm here to see, see her, whatever, because they don't say the name. They want to surprise you. How are you going to surprise me when it's in the trailer? How are you going to surprise me when it's in the trailer? Now, the moment I saw Fairuza, I instantly got chills because she didn't really say anything. I think she had like one line, but when she looked at her, I was like, "That's the movie I wanted." That's the movie I wanted. If there's a sequel, I will watch it. If Fairuza is in it, I'm gonna watch it anyway because I like the craft, and I'd cross my fingers to see if they did a better job with the third one. But the idea that Fairuza's in it, that's her daughter. Of course, she's gonna try to steal her daughter's powers, but that's her daughter. And Fairuza's character was fire in the original. Her daughter is water. So clearly, they're setting up fire, water for a sequel, for a third sequel. This was bad. I'm so disappointed in this movie. I really wanted to like this movie so much. It's just really disappointing that this movie was nothing more than a bad episode of Charmed. Yes, Charmed had some bad episodes, just like Buffy did. But overall, you love the series. But, Charmed did it better. But this was not a crap sequel until the last, minute of the movie, this was not a Craft sequel at all. Not even a little bit. And so I'm eager to hear what other fans of the Craft thought when they saw this movie. I know this is a long review. This is a long review because I love the franchise. The Craft is still one of my favorite movies. I plan on rewatching The Craft again and doing a review of The Craft itself. Although I probably don't even have to look at. I've seen the movie so many times. I don't have to look at the movie to actually do a review, but I'm just gonna look at it anyway. But yeah, it's such a disappointment. C minus. I don't know what else to say. But like I said, I'm eager to see what you guys thought. If there's a part 3, please give the other girls a personality. Please give the other girls a backstory. You know, if we can, I love Firuza, but you know, Nev, Rachel. I know Rachel True was available. You know, that could have been. Each girl could have been a daughter of the original Craft members. If you wanted to make it a direct sequel, I would love for her to go see her mom, and she turns out to be Rachel True's character, Rochelle. I would love for that to happen. Robin, you know, I don't know if she would bring Sarah back because Robin is picky with her roles. But, yeah, Nev, if she came back to Scream sequel 5 times, I think she'd do the Craft appearance too. Just give her coins and she'll be back. So, thank you for watching. I'm eager to know what you thought about this movie. And I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching. Because I have to see Spell, the Omari Hardwick, Loretta Devine movie. And also I've got to see His House. The lady who played Ruby in Lovecraft Country. I'm still trying to learn her name. She's Nigerian. I'll get it. But she's in His House, and that's a haunted house movie, and I want to see that one. So, I've seen The Craft Legacy. Have you seen The Craft Legacy? What were your thoughts about Craft Legacy? I'll see you in the next video. And if you made it to the end, you know you need to subscribe. Because I'm also going to, if you like witches, I'm going to watch the original Witches movie with, Angelica Houston. And the new one, I'm going to watch the new one that just came out on HBO Max. I'm going to do the 2 Witches reviews. Bad Hair, I saw that on Hulu. I'm going to do a review for that. I got a lot of reviews coming out. I got like 30 reviews coming out. So I'll probably release maybe 1 a day or a few a day all through November. I'm going to be packed with videos. So if you enjoyed this, if you enjoyed my train of thought, then go ahead and subscribe, like, and comment. Thanks for watching.